Welcome back. Cricket South Africa have set aside 3 months for the Transformation Ombudsman to conclude his report after the Cricket for Social Justice and Nation Building hearings. In his opening address, SJN Ombudsman Advocate Dumisa Ntsebeza confirmed he had received 11 submissions from what he termed scene setters, including administrators and officials, 23 from players past and present, and 24 from cricket unions and other interested parties. For more, let's go there live.
Paradigm shift in the way we manage and govern our schools, in the way we manage and govern our education. We need a total paradigm shift. For instance, the example I made earlier about the tennis players who used to go overseas and come back and write exams when they are here on holiday or when they come to play the SA Open. It's something we should embrace and say we need this kind of thing. The fact somebody the other day, this whole discussion around the rescission of the Constitutional Court judgment in this case that everybody is talking about. Somebody came out of a place and said, I think, that's the first thing she said when she joined the Facebook discussion. She said, I think we need a legal matric in this country. Exactly, because people tend to get involved in arguments and confuse a whole lot of other people with their arguments on these social networks. When I was at school, I started writing for the Evening Post in Port Elizabeth when I was in Standard 8, not Standard 8, in what was called Form 3.
Form 3, yeah.
I started writing for the Evening Post. What was I writing? I was reporting on all the school sport that is here in front of me. That's what I was doing. And when I left school, I was able to become a journalist because I started it at school. For instance, some of our schools in the townships don't even have school newspapers like other elite schools. Therefore, we are not preparing our kids to be able, for one of the biggest problems in this whole transformation thing is what the Prof was saying yesterday and Dr. Kula. We did a survey in the 1980s about why are we not seeing black batsmen scoring hundreds? And we came to the conclusion that because of their upbringing, there's the levels of concentrations are lower than a player who was brought up in a house where they have food every day, where they have breakfast, they have supper, they have all of those things. One of the reasons why Ngam had to stop playing and concentrate on coaching.
Ngam is spelled N-G-A-M.
One of the reasons why he had to stop playing, she was shin injuries. It was developed because, and nutritionists were saying it's because of the nutrition that he grew up being fed. And those are the things we should place into this whole thing that we are talking about. Can I go into my Kolpak story?
Yes.
The Kolpak ruling is a European Court of Justice ruling handed down on the 8th of May in 2003 in favor of Maros Kolpak, a Slovak handball player. It declared that citizens of countries which have signed the European Union Association Agreements have the same right to freedom of work and movement within the EU as EU citizens. I think a similar ruling was made around football with a guy called Bosman, the Bosman ruling. When normally in football we talk about the Bosman ruling. It's a similar ruling as this one, the Kolpak. Thus, any restrictions placed on their right to work, such as quotas, setting maximum numbers of such foreign players in sports teams, are deemed illegal under the EU law. The legal actions in Germany set a precedent for professional sports in Europe, which have had a wide-ranging effect, especially in regard to English county cricket and European professional rugby. A Kolpak player is a term, Kolpak is a term used in the United Kingdom for players in the domestic leagues in cricket and both rugby codes from overseas, subject to the Kolpak ruling. In other words, these players, in line with the European Court of Justice, were eligible to be selected for England, in the same way as Kevin Peterson qualified to play for England. These are the players, in a sense, who undermined the transformation policy of Cricket South Africa. They went to England saying, because of the transformation policy of Cricket South Africa, we are going to go and play our cricket in England and have a better chance of playing for England than playing for South Africa. At some stage, the England cricket team had about 5 or 6 South African-born players. Trott, a whole lot of others, the names don't come to mind. So it was easier for them to play there. As I said, these players undermined the transformation policy of Cricket South Africa. They contended that the transformation policy of Cricket South Africa precludes them from selections for South Africa. The question now will be, now there has been this Brexit. After Brexit, this ruling of the European Court of Justice doesn't apply anymore. As of January the 1st, 2021, all Kolpak players have had their registration cancelled by the English and Wales Cricket Board with immediate effect due to Brexit. I have noticed that Kolpak players who denigrated and undermined the transformation policy have been drafted into provincial setups around the country in South Africa and are to compete in this year's domestic competitions. Will they be eligible to play for the Proteas without censure? Can they play for these provinces without censure? Without them coming to, for instance, this commission and say, I apologize, I denigrated, I undermined the transformation policy of South Africa, therefore I'm coming to say I'm sorry for that. Will they be allowed? That's my question.
Or will they come voluntarily?
Exactly. These players, should be remembered, trashed the transformation policy of CSA until recently. Jacques Callis, who was appointed part-time, I think, bowling or batting coach of South Africa, took up a post in England and cited the very transformation policy of CSA as an obstacle to his progress. Solutions. In some of the paragraphs of my submission, you might have picked up some solutions to your transformation problems, Mr. Chair. The Amaqalekusha tournament is an opportunity that should be enhanced and developed. The neglect of this tournament has also dampened the enthusiasm of Mr. Ngumbela, who during Dr. Ali Bacher's tenure started sponsoring cricket in Alice and Fort Beaufort. All of this neglect manifested itself at some stage or at some time in our cricket. What is our problem? Our problem is not transformation, in a sense. It is diversity management. Do we manage this transformation? Or do we say, there's something, I think I refer to it here sometimes. One of the KPIs of the coaches in South Africa, coaches should be sat down and be told before they start their job, this is a national project. Transformation in this country, in all spheres of life, is a national project. So you are expected to drive this national project in cricket, in rugby, in soccer, in whatever other sport.
Swimming.
Exactly. You're supposed to drive this sport. You don't come and say, I'm not interested in transformation. I'm not interested in those players. I'm interested in people who know what they are doing. Vildala, when we were at school, they used to say, Itisara used to say, Siyamba nabahamba.
We go with those who are going.
So you can't say that in sport. We do not manage our diversity. We believe we leave people to their own devices. For instance, if you were to take the story of Makhaya Ntini into account, somebody needed to sit Makhaya Ntini down and find out what is the problem. Why do you run to the ground when there is a bus? I have been approached to be a research consultant for an American film company that they are making about South Africa's readmittance to the Olympic Games. And one of the points I pointed out, I spoke about this Makhaya Ntini story of him running behind the bus to the stadium and not getting to this because he cannot sit. He is isolated in the
Please, I think this is important. Can you just relate that story, even if it's just in a couple of minutes? What is this running after the bus?
The running after the bus is he could not be part of the discussions of the other players on the bus. As a result, he felt isolated because the other players, I'll make an example about that somewhere in my submission where I want to deal with this first. We seem to believe that the election of a black president or the appointment of a black chief executive will take care of transformation. We seem to be believing in that in this country. We said, oh, we appointed a black man, he's there, he's going to run the thing. We don't have to worry about transformation. That is not how transformation is driven. Transformation needs to be managed, needs a champion, somebody who's employed to see to it those things do happen. We forget that the CEO has other responsibilities beyond transformation. If he does not approve a team, as it has happened before many times, where he's told he's interfering with the team, I think Advocate Norman Aronson will tell you that this afternoon that a team was brought to him and he rejected the team because there was a resolution taken by Cricket South Africa that the president must approve the team. And when the team was presented to him when he was president of Cricket South Africa, he rejected the team and it was accused of interfering with the selection of the team. That is what is here. That is why I am saying we should avoid making that the job of the president. We should avoid that job must be done by somebody else, so the president comes down to that person and say to that person, how did you allow this to happen? That is the KPA of somebody else that must take charge of it. A friend of mine tells a story that he was in East London one day and he decided with other friends to go to a restaurant to go and have dinner. When he arrived at the restaurant, he found the Proteas team at the restaurant having dinner. But what surprised him was the blacks were sitting in a corner there, the colored and Indians were sitting in a corner there, the white players were sitting in a corner there, and what's his name? A.B. de Villiers was sitting with his wife and his little baby in some corner. The coach was sitting with the colored and Indian players. It was during Gibson's time. Now, it is clear that Gibson was never told what the transformation project of this country when he was employed. There's a transformation project this country has in all spheres. And that is what everybody who comes to take up a position in South Africa should be told. For instance, I've seen in many companies in South Africa that they would rather prefer to employ somebody from Zimbabwe. But because he's black, he's employed. Then I've made the quotas.
All right, let's cut out of that Cricket South Africa Social Justice and Nation Building project.